All right, and good afternoon. I call this meeting of the Lake County E911 Authority to order at 1300, first day of February 2024. Does anyone have any changes to the agenda? No? I'll entertain a motion to approve today's agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, go through director's report first. The only thing I'll start off with is with our new business, just a heads up, we'll speak a little more specifically about positions that we're going to try to pursue in 2024. So a broader topic that we can discuss other things, but that'll be kind of my focus point. Sir, anything else? I don't. No.
I think Chelsea had some questions about
Okay.
Station 2 and the work Captain Slutsky is doing down there. Are you guys, what's going on with Station 2? I guess that's my question.
I just have a question because Captain Slutsky asked for a second district or jurisdiction for Station 2, basically just south of Highway 300. So I'm just wondering if maybe we can get an update on Station 2?
Yes, so that's the concept. Now we're gonna ease into that. It's not gonna be like automatic where there's two separate districts and the expectation will be from dispatch that you tone out District 2 versus District 1. The process, in fact, we talked about it today, we had an officers meeting. The process is gonna be just how it is currently right now. You tone out, and then the engineer that's on down at Station 2 will understand the district from 300 south that they will respond automatically. Now that's 10 days a month, if and when that engineer is on duty and there's no vacation taken by that individual. So we're not looking at a lot of time until there's additional engineers and it's 365, all of that. So we're gonna ease into the district tone outs, but currently right now, dispatch expectation, and I think that Slutsky has probably talked to you about this, is that normal business. And then we'll go into the districts later on. We'll get into that process. So if the tone goes out, the engineer will know to respond from Station 2. They'll just contact dispatch, say, hey, Station 2 response. And then Station 1 will respond with them if there's a list within our own agency that we have where we feel like it's necessary for a secondary response from the main station. And then what might change with dispatch is that Station 2 may ask dispatch to tone out Station 1 to assist on that call.
So how soon is it happening, those 10 days that somebody will be at Station 2?
We're going through the hiring process right now. The shifts just shuffled. The new engineer will probably start next tour, which is we can see it as early as the 5th.
February?
Yep. Or most definitely on the 11th.
So I really need to get that district in.
No, I wouldn't, that's what Dan's saying is until it's staffed 365 like that, it really doesn't matter what you get, it's not gonna change what you guys do, right? Cause we're gonna be the same way when we start staffing to Station 2, nothing's really gonna change for you guys. So your paging process, what you guys do isn't gonna matter. All that's gonna happen is you page and the engineer is gonna say, hey, engine 2 responding from Station 2, that's all that's gonna change.
Okay.
So it shouldn't change your process at all, cause it's only gonna screw you guys up.
Initially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, until we're fully staffed.
Yeah, we'll work into the whole district page out when it's appropriate to do so. We're not gonna move into that right away. It's just a normal page out right now.
I guess I do wanna know ahead of time, cause I think it is gonna, you might know an easier way, but I think it is gonna take some time for me to put all those addresses south of Highway 300 into a separate district.
Yeah, he told me about that.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be
She might know of an easier way, but
I was gonna say.
right now I was thinking I have to go change every
No,
single address.
No,
I
I think you can geofence in there.
Yeah. Okay.
but you just group it and then you can add a district to those, all those numbers
Okay.
that we have,
Okay,
like
Might be
twice.
easier.
alright,
You thought you had nothing.
I did.
Sorry, I just.
Does-
when
does
you
that
emailed
answer-
I'm like, oh god, I need to get started on this district right this second.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah,
No.
you know, and we're, you know, that with this growth, you know, of course, you know, change, we're working through everything that we need to, obviously, and we're gonna work closely with you on that to make sure it's appropriate for dispatch.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it'll be the same with us too, if we're gonna make any changes like that, there'll be a large discussion with you before that ever happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Claire?
So in your packet, there is a memo that kind of goes through a few different things. Still a lot kind of going on over in my area. The first is, kind of a brief Motorola update. We did get that contract signed, that has been processed, we're moving forward on that. Unfortunately, we did run into some hiccups with the Consolidated Communications Network of Colorado, CCNC. That is a larger state group. Apparently, we need to ask their permission to purchase the consoles. So we are currently going through that process. We have submitted that application. They are reviewing that in their working group, and that will be on their March agenda. The sheriff, myself, and hopefully Chelsea will be on a virtual meeting tomorrow with them, even though it's not on their agenda, just to see where they're at. DOLA, the budget was submitted to DOLA on their e-filing system. They're just reviewing and approving on their end. The tower update is the big one. I know we've been discussing a lot. We have had some good movement on that. On January 29th, the FCC let us know that the State Historic Preservation Office has not reported any adverse effects, so that's good. That was a hurdle. We still need that antenna structure registration number, so the next step is to reapply for that number with the state. I spoke with Brian Foltz from the OPSC Office of Public Safety Communications yesterday on their side of tower operations. To sum up that conversation, they did pull their equipment from our tower. I was under the impression that they were just threatening to pull the equipment, and it turns out they did pull it. They will not order that equipment until we have that antenna registration number again, and they do not know the lead time. I think we're all familiar with the history of the tower project. It has not been the most smooth process, and the state is holding a lot of grievance against that. So I have an email from Brian in my folder, or actually I have it pulled up, I don't think I'm missing anything. It's basically just saying they understand that we need to get the antenna registration site. They feel like we've been under communicating with them, that we have, the major thing is that there is a long-term plan for us to build a community justice center. And kind of the outstanding part that I don't quite understand, just due to my lack of technical knowledge, is that the county will be responsible for running a microwave or fiber link from that tower up at the EOC over to the courthouse. I don't know if that was part of our Motorola discussions at all. I wasn't familiar with it. I asked the state, when we scheduled this call, if I could bring Motorola on for that technical aspect, and they told me it wasn't necessary. That turned out to be inaccurate. But, I think moving forward, the main thing I want to get at with this tower update project is I told Brian yesterday, I feel like there's been kind of piecemeal and individual communications, which is how we kind of got into this situation. And moving forward, I would really like full group conversations. So whether that's through the board as a work session, whether that's through just multiple parties on the same phone call, I would love kind of some direction on that and what the board is open to. If that's my preference would be a work session with Motorola, Doug over at Communication Solutions, the board, Chelsea, and the state, and just get them all in the same room and try to clear up the communication issues. So that's that.
Lane did mention Lumen the other day for that too,
Okay,
or for that connection.
Yeah.
So you may wanna bring them in on that.
Yeah, probably from Coleman's.
cool. Yeah, so we can work on scheduling that. In more fun news, the new ETC went into effect today, February 1st. We did receive 34 return letters, 28 returned emails. So that brings us up to roughly 62 companies that did not get notification of the ETC increase. Whether that's because, they may not even remit to us, it may be a non-issue. All 62 companies could remit to us. So kind of next steps there is getting a better documentation of who is remitting, who is not remitting, and working with whatever attorney we decide to contract with, to understand what our path forward is if we did try to notify them and their address wasn't correct with the state. But yeah, that went into effect today. That's just kind of an update on that. And then at the bottom of it, and we can talk more in kind of the financial section of the meeting, just some kind of high level oversights of the fund balance. The only other two additional things I have from this morning, is I talked with Michael Harg. Many of you know he contracts with Lake County Public Health. He is currently putting together a tabletop exercise based around the Strategic National Stockpile and MCM distribution. And he would like dispatch's participation in that. He doesn't have a date for it yet. Nope, I'm sorry. It's Thursday, May 16th, so we can talk more about that, but I wanted to throw it out. He also would love hospital and EMS participation. Just wanted to throw that date out there and know that he's working on that. May 16th. It'll be at the EOC from 9 to 11. And then the other thing is the South Central Homeland Security Grant. We are meeting as an executive board on the 6th. One of the projects that is coming from the communications working group is a Starlink for each county in the region. A Starlink in 1 year of service. So just, there's no definitive answer on that, but that may be a capability coming to us.
Like mobile?
It would be mobile, yeah. The working group decided that it didn't make sense to have one of the mounted ones, because then we have to decide, does it go on mobile command, does it go on the OEM vehicle? Are those cars always available to go wherever the Starlink service is needed? So it would be one of the portable ones. And we would get the plan that would allow us to turn it off, and then have it activated within 10 minutes and turn it back on, if that makes sense. So things to work on there. I'll let the board know how the board moves forward next week, but if anyone has any thoughts on that, I'm open to it. And that's all I have.
Beat that, Jeremy.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
I wouldn't even try. No, I have nothing.
okay. And Briar never made it on?
No, I do not. Sorry, I'm clicking on the wrong button. No.
Okay. All right, any public comment? We have nobody online, right?
Nope.
Okay, we move into new business. Item A, presentation and updates of the Lake County Communication Center and outstanding upcoming projects. Led by the one and only Chelsea Parsons.
So, I have a lot of time to put it together, it's not fancy, but it's there. So Sheriff and I kind of came to the conclusion to go with Lake County Emergency Communication Center. In my research of what other entities use throughout the state, this seems to be state standard. So that's why we chose this name, but there are things we have to do, like everything, we're registered under the Lake County Sheriff's Office, so I have emailed the FCC and Entrado to see what that process is for changing our name. So I'm waiting for an email back on that. Any question, comments, concerns about the name?
Seems appropriate.
I'm thinking, what kind of acronym can we come up with, right?
LCECC.
Okay.
Tim, Sarah's position made it challenging for us, so we added emergency in there. Since Sarah Edwards was the communication director. We added in the emergency communication, but it is like Chelsea said, it's pretty standard.
Although I did tell my dispatchers they did not have to answer the phone with that long name every single time, so. So we had a little bit of a snag with finance, somebody hasn't paid their bills. I hope it's not us, so I kinda wanted to go over the internet lines. Right now, it's under the sheriff's office and it's broken up between jail and dispatch, right?
Yes.
So this is what I have researched because I was researching that we need a backup internet when the internet went down. I found that we have CenturyLink Lumen and we also have Spectrum Charter. So this is our account number, our account manager, her contact information. Our current bill is approximately $187 a month just for dispatch. Our current bandwidth is 1.5 megabytes for download and 896 kilobytes for upload. Copper analog DSL static IP lines, not fiber. It seems like whenever previous administration was here, they did not update to fiber with the county, so that's not good. So I asked, how much would it be to get fiber in? CenturyLink quoted that our bill would increase by $30 a month and go up to 25 megabytes per second on the fiber lines. We've had our current plan since 2012, and we're also renting their modem. I already got this, so I can take that out next time.
It's really 1.5 megabytes?
That's it.
Classic style.
That's
And that's why they
That's
didn't,
literally nothing.
that's why they didn't respond when the internet went down, is because we don't even have business class, we have lowest grandfathered in account, so,
And fiber would only get you 20?
well, for that price, it can go up, but that was like the minimum that we had to do to update to fiber. I can get a more comprehensive quote. Spectrum gave me a very comprehensive quote, so we have this as backup. This is our account manager and contact information. Current bill is $234 a month. Current bandwidth with Spectrum is 60 megabytes, also on copper analog DSL static IP lines. This is what they offer. They do offer 50, but we didn't go with that. Oops, sorry. Coax is not a business class service, but a best effort, which is why they were like, we could get there in 2 days, 3 days. And I'm like, no, that's
2
not gonna work.
minutes.
So all fiber lines are guaranteed business class service, fiber outage is guaranteed 4-hour response time, and that includes the travel time and time to repair the service.
Okay.
So that's what I found out on that. I don't know if we just want to separate it from the SO and get our own. I know SO needs to update to fiber lines as well, or it would be better for them. So, yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know what I found out. It is gonna cost money, so I wanted to get your guys' opinion on it and go from there.
Did you ever get a quote from Darrow?
No, Vera never called me back.
Okay, if you, I would suggest connecting with Tom Hetman for county IT. I just met with him earlier, this afternoon, and he's doing a lot of work with Arrow and everything, and I understand historically the sheriff's office and county IT have been separate, but I wonder if there's some collaboration that can happen there, but he has a contact for Barrow, if you wanted to get a quote from them. The other question I had is, right now, there is a bill for CenturyLink coming out of the E911 fund, it's like $64 to $68 a month. Do you know what that's going to?
I would have to see the account number because we have several accounts for the phone lines and 911 line, or the internet lines.
Do you have any guess, knowing if it's like 64, is that?
The bill that hasn't been paid?
Is that the?
No, it's coming out.
No, because it's coming out of E911, yeah, and the treasurer's office has been paying that one.
I don't know, that's really low.
Okay, I'll get one of those copies of the bill sent over.
That's super low, I'm not sure what that would be.
I can't remember, it used to be this, I don't remember.
Text 911 update, the POC just, reported to the Senate, so I stole some of their slides, the next one. But this is some of the questions that came up in my research before they reported when I was researching the text 911. I was told that Lumen needs to switch us, so I've emailed them and I'm waiting for them to email me back. And I'm gonna ask them all these questions that I have. And also, Claire sent me these questions from Tracy at the bottom. Why do we not have text to 911? Is it A, because of cost? Is it B, the balance of what seems to be beneficial to the community, anticipated low use? And I made a note that we have already, there was some confusion, it might be with Pitkin, because we've gotten, I think, 2 or 3 calls from Pitkin that they have a text 911 for us, and we responded to the call. So I think the community is already trying to use it. I think it would actually be very helpful, especially because we have a lot of crashes where there's no phone service. So I just threw these in there so that maybe we can get Claire some answers and so she can respond to Tracy. And then these are some companies that offer text 911, Smart 911, and Prepared 911, and I think, I can't remember exactly, we'll have to ask Motorola again, I think Motorola said they contracted with Smart 911.
A bit SOS also has text to 911, and we already use Rapid SOS.
Okay, well, we'll have to think about that one too, because Rapid SOS hasn't been mapping for me for a while.
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing.
Oh, she was saying Rapid SOS also offers text to 911, but I said mine hasn't been mapping in a while.
You just need to call an update, do updates.
Okay. So I'll look into Rapid SOS as well, as we already have that service attached to our 911 phones. This is the text to 911 state map that I stole from the PUC. We're one of the last ones to get text to 911. So I would really like to get it in. I think it would be useful to the community. And then I just threw an EMD in there because we're trying to get that as well. I just wanted to let you guys know that they did mention at the Senate that they would be sending a survey out regarding these reports. I just talked to Jennifer Kirkland with the PUC. She said that if the survey is gonna go out in the next couple days, she thinks it might either go to me or Sheriff, so Sheriff, if you could keep an eye on your emails.
No problem.
These are gonna be some of the questions on there, that I kind of would like, all of us would like answers to, I think. There said there's gonna be some budget questions too, but I don't think those will be an issue as we just finalize the budget. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Then, me and Claire have been talking about FOP. It's legal representation. John Stewart is a treasurer for our lodge in our area. And he gave Claire a blank check to be able to pay for that. It's $32 a month per person. And we can take members off at any time and get a credit or a refund, and we can add members at any time at the beginning of any month. I did learn a little bit more, but I don't know if we need all those details. I had a long conversation with John about it.
And that's specific to dispatchers.
Yeah, so like, for example, Ben is gonna be going to the patrol side. So he doesn't have to cancel his FOP and reapply under the patrol side. He can just move his FOP over to the patrol side, but it would go up. So,
Remind me what FOP stands for again?
Fraternal
Order of Police.
So I mentioned to Sheriff that our monitors continuously keep going out because they're in a blind. So I wanted to bring that up as a potential Band-Aid thing we need to fix, or if we wanna see if that's something we wanna do with the Motorola update, how long, I don't know if our current monitors will last another year, but we're kind of piecing it together right now with whatever we can find in the office. I am getting quotes from Pro Velocity and Communication Solutions, so I can update with those as soon as I get those back. Request from our dispatch meeting last night was that we get the one long monitor that's curved and not several monitors.
Is that all you would need? Or would you still?
Well, we would
at
have
least
to
a
talk
more?
with Communication Solutions to see if we
Okay.
could get the radios on there too. But
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, and if it's gonna mesh well with the Motorola update, that's all I would care about.
Yeah.
Is making sure that's future-proof in that regard.
Yeah.
But as long as that's not gonna affect the Motorola update, and we have to get new monitors again, then that's all fine, get what you need.
So that's my report. I decided I'm gonna keep it on this PowerPoint and improve it as a living document and update it.
you just replaced 2 or 3?
I just replaced 1 in dispatch 1, we replaced 2 in dispatch 2, 1 a couple months ago, and I think the other one like 6 months ago.
So the ones that are left, how many of those are unique touchscreen radio type of monitors?
Only the radio, the 2 radio.
Just the radio ones? Oh, okay.
Do we know why they're going on?
I think they're at a life, they've been in there, at least I know they've been in there for like 6 years, 7 years. Probably, if not longer.
Gotcha.
When you say they're going out, like what are
They're just fine, they're turning off, they won't turn back on, and I think those don't work.
and there's no connection issues or anything?
No, because when we put the new ones in, we're using the same lines and the new monitors work.
And you said while I was there visiting, it was a great visit over there in dispatch, I learned a lot, so thank you. Didn't you rob this, like a monitor from another place to replace one of those as well?
Yes, I gave dispatch my desktop computer.
Oh, yes.
So now I'm working off this little laptop, but that's okay. And then we stole, I don't know where we got the other 2, somewhere in the sheriff's office. Like I said, we're just piecing it from whatever we can find in the office. I think one of them might have been Paula's at one point.
Anything else?
That's it.
Any questions?
Unless we can answer any of the questions I have on the report.
Yeah, and I'm all for texting 911 too, I think, like you're saying, there's a lot of places in the county that are either no service or very low service. That text can get through where a call may not, so, and I mean, the rest of the state's on it, and everybody's getting used to using it, so we should have as well.
Yeah.
And it's good to know as well that yes, you can, while you can call 911 and get through, we're less likely to get their location
Sure.
if they don't have service.
The cost for these, Chelsea, do they lie in the operational budget now, or is it gonna be a consideration to try to find this funding somewhere else to replace the monitors?
We have money set aside for dispatch repairs outside of Motorola. I wanna say it's 20,000. So there's funding there, and that's what it was intended for, was the repairs that came outside of Motorola. Or I'm sorry, that wouldn't be fixed by the Motorola acquisition.
What's rough ETA for the text to 911?
I don't have an ETA yet because I have to see if Lumen will switch us, which they haven't emailed me back yet. But I will ask for a timeline once they do email me back.
Okay.
And then also we need to figure out what company we're gonna use, and I would probably like to find out what Motorola uses.
Okay, maybe a phone call to Lane then. I think you might have some connection points with Lumen also, so we can get some answers there.
Kind of going off your question, I would be more concerned about the fiber budgeting and that update. That would be my bigger concern financially.
Yeah.
Sounds good, but it's already in this building, is my understanding. So just want to run it to the building.
Yeah.
Good, anything else? Chelsea, thank you. Next item B is discussion and consideration of joining the Colorado Council on Authorities, CCOA. Blair,
Sorry.
you wanna just throw things down?
Just chuck it. Yeah. So in your packets, there's a memo just kind of going over this a little bit if it's helpful. If I can find it.
Three down.
That's the new, oh, there it is, thank you. So last year we talked about joining the Colorado Council of Authorities, CCOA. That is a group for Colorado E911 authorities similar to ours. This came about when I was talking with Tracy Oldmeyer, who many of you remember, in our work session for, legal representation to our authority. She's also the legal counsel to CCOA. She connected me with Kimberly Cullip, who is the CEO over at LETA, and she also sits as the chair of CCOA. So I talked with her, just a really nice phone conversation, about CCOA, what it can, how it can benefit us. It is a nonprofit membership-based association, and it's really a collaborative hub. I think we're all part in some way of some associations. I have one for emergency management, so I think you guys are pretty familiar with how those work. But really what they do is, their mission is to advocate for 911 authorities, and also kind of providing representation at the state legislator level for 911 matters. There are currently 21 in CCOA. I know we talked in the work session a bit about counties that are more similar to us. There's a list at the bottom of this memo, but population-wise, similar ones were like Delta, Fremont, Gilpin, Gunnison, Hinsdale. So there are, members of this association that are in the same shoes that we're in. They are, discussing topics, many of which Chelsea just brought up on their regular monthly meetings, like text to 911, EMD, budgets, policies and procedures, all the same things we're doing right now. Kimberly also mentioned they're working on negotiating master contracts. So LETA, for example, is absolutely massive, as you can imagine. There are no Motorola discounts, I should preface that. But as they kind of work through CenturyLink issues, and other companies, they are trying to negotiate a master contract, so those rates would be available to all CCOA members. So some cost savings for us there, as we can take advantage of larger dispatch centers. I personally think it's a really good move for us. It's pretty affordable. They charge members by the session initiation protocol sessions, which is how many calls we can take at one time before we're maxed out. For us, it's 3. So it's $175 times 3, it's $525. This is a budgeted expense. They meet monthly. I think having our executive director would be great to have us represented on these meetings. It kind of ties into some of the work that I'm doing in emergency management, so I'd also be happy to sit on as a secondary member if no other board members are interested. But overall today, I would ask for you guys' approval in joining CCOA, and work to get that membership application in, so we can start leveraging connections around the state. So I'm sorry, brief and dirty, and I probably talked too fast, but.
Explains it very well, yeah.
Any other questions? Concerns? No, we've already discussed it a few times. Any other comments?
Are you okay with adding another monthly meeting to your schedule?
That's a yes.
I want to know the state updates on House bills and laws and everything, so, and if it can benefit us other ways. I don't wanna go to more meetings, but if it benefits us, yes.
Well, I think it's we're playing some catch up clearly by those maps that you showed us. Those are embarrassing. We're one of 2 counties in negative light, or 3 counties, or whatever it is, for multiple reasons. And I think that joining CCOA would not only help us catch up, but prevent that from ever happening again. Correct. It's the right step, so.
I guess the positive is we have foreign language interpretation, we were great on that map.
You were, yeah, right.
1 out of.
Good. We'll take whatever we can do. All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve joining the Colorado Council of Authorities.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right. Any further discussion?
Nothing.
All right, hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
So you'll just add that to your report as well?
Okay, the update on the House.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll steal the CCOA slides too.
Might as well. Yeah, if there's things that's easy to do with, and
For
no reason
updates
to
and
reinvent the wheel, so.
All right, move on to our next new business item C, discussion and consideration on an agreement with an attorney for the authority.
Sorry, as I was looking at the Word document, I realized that, an old agenda draft was pulled up, but that was not the one that was posted, so I'm just pulling up the one that was posted.
Oh, this is the.
I think I put the updation. But it's still, we can fix that
Yeah.
probably, but this was the one that was publicly posted, so that's just done. So last week before, we had a work session, where we met with Ken Feldman and Tracy Oldmeyer, to get to know them a little bit better in the hopes of contracting with one of them, for legal advice to our E911 authority. As we've discussed before, Chris Boyd through the county is not available legal representation to us, due to her work with the county, so we needed to find our own. I think we had a really good conversation, with both of them. In your packets are the fee agreements, from both Ken and Tracy. I have not done a deep dive into them. I would hope that Chris Boyd would be amenable to reviewing any fee agreements that we would have with our attorneys before we sign them. If the county would be okay with that. So I guess, from today, what I'm asking for the board is any thoughts on who would you like to contract with? We can vote on that matter, and any further discussion.
I think the only thing to discuss then is, based off of our last work session on the topic, we were kind of split without having Dan Breyer here. And if everybody's feeling the same way, we can table this until we can get Dan Breyer present.
I guess it wouldn't matter if we're still split, or we have the majority then.
Yeah, I think there's a majority.
Okay, you wanna go for a vote? Or are you saying with Dan Breyer? Wait for Dan Breyer?
What was Dan's straw poll? Where was he leaning? I don't.
As far as I remember, he was saying more just Ken.
Oh, really?
I think it was that? If we're not sure, then.
Yeah,
Then maybe we should wait, I guess.
I think it would, I think he was, I wanted more of his, experience.
He wanted what, I'm sorry?
The experience. Ken's experience.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably best to wait for Dan then. If we're still, if everybody's having the same opinions going into it. Or we can just do a vote now to see where everybody's sitting.
I'm fine either way, I was leaning towards Ken as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have the majority of the board here,
Right,
we can, it's just if we wanna wait for Dan or not.
okay,
I'll leave it up to you.
sure, we can give it a shot. Claire, what do you think's the best way to go about voting? Just entertain a motion to vote for one of them and see what happens? With
Yeah,
ayes?
so you can, do a motion for the name, so if you wanted to make a
Okay.
motion for Ken specifically, and then we would vote on Ken.
Okay,
So basically, if you vote no on the motion, then you would be voting for Tracy.
okay, right. All right, we'll entertain a motion to appoint or approve Ken as legal representation for the E911 authority, pending legal review from the county attorney. Any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Well,
Aye.
we'll roll. We'll roll with
You don't
Ken.
have to.
Okay. Sounds good.
So I'll follow up with Ken and Tracy both,
Okay.
and I'll get that agreement over to Chris Boyd.
Sounds good. I mean, it was obviously close. They were, I think either one would have been fine.
I will say that, obviously in that last work session, I had some reservations about Ken and his retirement and passing along to, his associate and how much attention we may have or paying double. There was just some concern as I expressed in that. So I just want to make it known that, I'm in favor of either one. I think both representation will be great.
Yeah.
But at some point, if for whatever reason we feel like we're not being represented, I would like to be able to revisit this and look at other options.
100%.
Yeah, I think we all feel that way. I think between the CCOA, and having the option to terminate the contract wherever we want to, if it's not working, I think we all felt that way for sure.
Okay. All right, move on to the last item of new business is item D, discussion on 2024-2025 staff priorities, budget considerations. Like I mentioned in the beginning, priority right now is for 2024, we've budgeted for 8 positions. And we've gone back and forth on how to approach the executive director position, which we made a decision to appoint Chelsea as the interim executive director. So question became of how to kind of manage these other open positions. After talking to Chelsea some, decided it was best to, for one of them, pursue a supervisor to see what kind of applicants we get, because she needs a lot of help from the supervision standpoint, because she's wearing basically the hat of the executive director, supervisor, and just the other day I saw her running the radio as a dispatcher. So she's doing it all, definitely needs some help from the leadership standpoint, more so than anything. We have shift coverage. So
Supervisors and FTO.
yep, the list continues. So that leaves us with one opening that I'd like to talk about on the best approach and just get everybody's feelings on what we should do with that last position. The 2 options would basically be to post the executive director position for outside applicants, or post a operator level position, which is the entry level position in the dispatch for that 8th position. So I'll just kick it off with that. I'm trying to gain some thoughts from you guys on what your opinions are with that second available position.
Can I just clarify, because something that confused me was that technically we're gonna have 8 positions, but that's separate from the 8 dispatch positions to get us to EMD. So pros of getting a director is I get more help. Pros of getting another operator is we're getting closer to the EMD.
Right.
It doesn't,
So that'll be 6 operators.
Right.
If we do that.
it doesn't make a ton of sense to me to have an executive director without being well-staffed for dispatchers. I know you need help, but if we don't have that base staff, then we can't do EMD, which keeps us from moving forward eventually, right? So if there's no timeline on when we'd be able to hire that operator, it seems to be more important to staff from the bottom up versus the top down.
I mean,
Now-
with the supervisor position open, that also gives me help and could possibly give us more time.
Sure.
with my director.
Sure. And that leaves you in that interim kind of world longer, as long as you're okay with that. But we need dispatchers,
Yeah.
you know.
Me and Sheriff discussed this a little bit. I think I told him I'm enjoying the position. I enjoy every single position. If I went back to dispatching tomorrow, I was demoted back to dispatcher, I would be still the happiest person on earth because I love everything that has to do with dispatch. And I also told him that, you know, while I do wanna be successful, I want the department as a whole to succeed. So if it's better to hire somebody with more experience, I want that to be better for the department. But if it's not the right time to do that, I'm willing to stay where I am.
Whole lot going on.
I see it.
Yeah. I really want what you think is best. And I know that, you know, when we're discussing you being the interim for the director's position, we're putting faith in you to bring that agency where it needs to be. That I understand it's a learning curve, and it will be. I think it'd be premature, this is how I feel, of us to go for a director's position currently right now, while you're trying to establish yourself in that position, and for us to be able to observe, you know, your actual performance on how you're doing in that position. My overall opinion about that is it's gonna be very difficult to hire somebody from the outside to establish them into our community for the salary range that we're gonna pay them and all of that, where, you know, in my greatest success within my own agency, we've been able to create a culture and a pathway for people to be successful within the agency itself. So I'd like to be able to see you be in the position for a little while longer, get your staffing established, you know, get up and operational, see what those next steps are, and then maybe go towards the director's position. That's just my opinion about it. Well, what do you want? That's more, I think, more important. What do you see? Do you see any deficiencies that you'd like to fulfill first within the dispatch department, or?
I mean, definitely supervisor, and we've already decided to post that one, so that'll definitely help. I just feel like it's too much to, manage your people and try to have a relationship with your people while you're also trying to figure out how to run and build the department from the ground up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be my main thing, and obviously EMD is a huge thing on my mind as well, but we already have a long-term plan for that, so.
So there's two things I'm hearing there, is if we were able to get a supervisor, it'd free you up to do what I just talked about in the growth, your professional growth, but also the EMD aspect is obviously for greater services to our community. So, and didn't we, like when I was doing the ride-along, we talked a little bit about the supervisory role. Is there applicants? There's applicants for that?
It was just
Or
posted, yeah, so
possible applicants?
yeah, the pool of applicants is building as we speak. Seems like there's a handful of people interested.
That's good. That's excellent.
Speaking of that, Karina wanted to know an end date of how long we're gonna keep that open.
For the supervisor one? I think depending on how many apply, we can go a week or two. No, I appreciate your thorough answer on that. I think it's good to hear that. I think your mind's in the right place, and I'm a fan too of hiring the operator next. As we've discussed, I think you're doing a great job in this current role. Definitely need some more help. It gets us closer to the EMD status to help accomplish our 2025 goals. I'm definitely a fan of it, and just to be clear, the reason why we're discussing this is because it's kind of awkward to say, do you want to replace yourself, Chelsea? And so I think it's fair for her to hear from us kind of where we're sitting on that, so. Yeah, Claire, what do you think?
I go back and forth on this one a lot. I do think it kind of lends itself to a chicken and the egg situation. We can't have EMD without, you know, a full dispatch staff. We can't have, even text and 911, I would argue, without a full dispatch staff. However, unless we can start to free up the capacity of Chelsea, we can't get EMD anyway, right? Because she's doing 10 million other things. So I would like to see the job description that was posted for the supervisor. I wish we could have kind of had a chance to review that before it went
Sure.
out, because I wonder if there were more of kind of the lower hanging fruit duties in the executive job description that could have been included in there. And I'm being a little bit selfish here, I'm thinking in my own capacity workload and everything. And some of the conversations we've had surrounding like budget and financial reporting and all that, that I think kind of having an extra person in there would help alleviate all of us, right? I would like to see us go through the executive director hiring process sooner rather than later. But the fact of the matter is that like, we can't get EMD, we can't reach these larger goals without having that full dispatch staff. So I'm comfortable posting for that dispatch position operator and trying to get that filled. But really focusing on this other supervisor position that's coming in and making sure we're hiring smart for that and seeing if there's areas that we can kind of try to disperse some workload into that as well. And if that's, sorry, not to like hire competition for you, but making sure that's a candidate that could maybe grow as well into that role and become familiar with our community.
And I mean, also, Sheriff and I have discussed a lot about that we wanna build a legacy, and, a little more specific to me than to Sheriff is that I wanna build something strong enough to withstand the, election seasons when, new sheriffs come in, so that the next person that's elected in, hopefully it's sheriff again, but, if a new sheriff does come in, they don't have to rebuild from the ground up, they can kind of just start off where we left off. And I just want it to be I've been trying to do a lot of state standards, so that way, when they come in, they can see why we did what we did, and we didn't just make it up because we wanted it that way. So hiring somebody that could possibly move into that position, I agree with the point of that.
Do you have a hiring process set in
Or
place? Is there a hiring process for dispatch?
dispatch.
Just, I'm learning here.
So, at the last meeting, you guys said that I could go ahead and hire and post, so I did what I did, do the same for dispatchers is I did some research and found a state standard, supervisor, job description, and it does have a little bit of helping with the budget and helping with the people, cause if I could get help with managing the people, it would free up more of my time to do budget and everything else. So it does have mainly managing people, but also helping with the director a little bit. And then we have people apply, we look at their resume, HR checks their references, and then we do a background check, and then I was gonna look into if there's a supervisor test, cause I only have a dispatcher test right now. So for dispatchers, I have a test, and they have to meet a minimum score to pass on to the next thing. And then after that test, then I do interviews. And then after that, I think get hired as onboarding.
And some of the standard things like we do too with sorry if you mentioned sort of the psyche valves,
Oh, yes, we do, sorry.
yeah, background checks,
Physical.
reference checks, like some of the other standard.
Yeah.
Or how we do in the office, yeah. What's the name of the company that we get that test from? No.
Standard and Associates,
Standard,
Yeah,
for the defense.
so it's a pre-built test for that position.
Standard Associates.
Stenard.
Stenard.
We should test you. Any other thoughts for 2024? Okay. 2025, when we carry this discussion today, you have something for 2025?
Yeah, just thinking, it sounds like our consensus is to post for that operator position and hold off into the executive director until 2025. And I also would invite, the feedback of our IGA partners in the room for sure, if you guys have anything you wanna add. But yeah, I think just making sure as we move into 2025 to get this executive director hiring process kind of rocking and rolling, contingent on full staffing.
Okay.
Would be my feedback for that.
All right, you guys have any thoughts on directions for?
To your comment, why would you have to wait until 2025 to fill the executive director role?
Just budgetary purposes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think your approach is great, to your point of, basically building within the programs that you guys have and growing your own, so great approach, especially in small towns.
Yeah, I think 2025, our goal is to get to 8 dispatchers, so we can, and then have them trained and ready, so by the start of 2026, we can have emergency medical dispatching capabilities in place. So it is a longer term goal. I think it's, from a budget standpoint, we budgeted for X amount this year, next year to accomplish that, sorry. So it does seem kind of far out to get to that state, but we have to be realistic on, who we have now, how many trainers we have, how many people we can bring on at once. So even if we were able to bring on 4 or 5 additional right away, our capacity to train them would be stretched pretty thin. But I'll just, like Claire said, I agree with you also on your comments about the executive director position. Again, I think it's one of those things that we need both. kind of now, and then we get to this point of like, it's super hard to make a decision on which one we pursue first. And, you know, I experienced that a lot in the sheriff's office too, trying to juggle those decisions and, you know, might be wrong at the time, but I think that that operator level position does provide, you know, when we think about just how quickly can we get better services to our public is, versus building the office, so that's just been my thought on
Yeah, I would agree with that.
it. Oh, any other discussion on item D? All right, move on to minutes, reports, and bills. We have the approval of the January 10th, 2024 minutes, meeting minutes. Any changes to that?
I didn't have any changes.
No, okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the January 10th, 2024 meeting minutes.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Sorry, can I ask one question?
Of
Yeah.
course.
Do we know anything on update on the Pullman air conditioning, cause they haven't been there for 2 or 3 days?
I was just about, like installation?
Yeah.
Are they not completed?
No.
Okay, I'll follow up with Public Works on that.
They put the old one back underneath the new one, so the new one is not up and running yet, and they haven't been there for like 2 or 3 days, so I was wondering where that's at.
I guess that.
Tim, have you heard anything from Michael on that, by any chance, on the new cooling unit for dispatch? No.
Paid the bill, Mabel had the bill.
Yeah, cool. Just on installation timeline, if not, it's fine, I just didn't know if you mentioned anything to you.
I thought they already did it, is that what they were doing?
It sounds like they didn't finish it.
Yeah, it looks like it's out there. So, I don't
It's
know,
up there, but it's not on.
maybe we need an FCC number to.
Antenna
Sorry,
registration.
Antenna
Did you put
registration.
it up correctly? Did you get all the allowances?
It's impeding the view, sorry, okay.
Yeah, we're not-
So in the packet is a copy of the Tolan mechanical bill. It actually came in under budget, which was really exciting. The initial quote, I believe, was for $20,000. At one point, the quote went up to like $26,000. Final bill was just under 18,000. We split this 50-50 with the SO, so our total came just over 8,000, between 8,000 and 9,000. That number is in the treasurer's memo. We just wanted to bring that up. We'll work on kind of doing more combined financial reporting between Chelsea and I, looking at ETC revenue in this. This was processed through the treasurer's office, so I just wanted to throw it in here.
So it's been paid, but the work hasn't been completed?
Apparently. So we came into, so the reason for that was, there was a paperwork issue with this invoice. So we had to re-sign the contract and resubmit, and we wanted the capacity to take it out of the 2023 budget. So the deadline for that is tomorrow or today, so we had to get it paid, so we could take it out of 2023.
Okay.
Yeah. But I will follow up on Public Works on why they haven't finished for sure, so thank you.
I didn't catch anything, they were here in the town and installing, it looks installed, and then the old air conditioning is running. It's kind of where we left off there.
And then other than that, the only other two things, there is in your packets, an end of year statement for 2023, also the current, most up-to-date statement for our ETC revenue as of January 10th. If you don't wanna go through the whole spreadsheet, there's an overview of it in the treasurer's memo, so I'm happy to walk through that, or whatever you guys wanna do.
Is there anything nope?
We actually did pretty good, what the numbers? The rest of the votes. So we actually came out on top for December in ETC revenue at just over 16,000. We were like kind of under projections when the first report came in, and then we ended up 2K over compared to December 2022, which was nice. And then end of year, we had an increase of $56,000. So that was pretty exciting. That's a pretty big jump. I also think it speaks to, the how unpredictable sometimes this ETC revenue is, and the work that we need to do in 2024 to make it more predictable. And part of that is, really hammering down on what vendors are remitting to us, talking with them, and then making sure they're remitting at that new rate. You guys probably remember in the budget projections, we did do a pretty conservative estimation of ETC revenue, knowing that not everyone's gonna do what they're supposed to do.
Right.
So everyone check their phone bills if you live in Lake County, see what you're getting charged. But yeah, we did pretty good this year, which is nice.
And that's 2023 doesn't represent any of our efforts.
Correct.
Right,
Yeah.
so it's just, and we still saw an increase, so would that say that there's just more users out there, basically with the increase? Cool. Yeah, thanks for adding all that in there. Anything else? No? Well, exactly an hour, we'll adjourn this meeting. Thanks, guys.